Hey folks, Dr. Mike Israel for Renaissance Periodization, RP Diet Book 2.0, Chapter Summary. We're on Chapter 5, Food Composition. If you want any more details, and there are tons, the link is right below to look at the book. Tons of references. The book is enormous. Give it a thought. Here's the 50,000-foot view on food composition. Yeah, timing's important, macros are important, calories are important, but where do we get those macros? You don't just go to the store and get macros, you get actual food. Food composition is defined as where do those proteins, carbs, and fats come from? Like, are you getting your carbs from, whole grain bread, from fresh fruits and berries, or are you getting them from like pixie sticks, that candy that is just pure sugar? Right? It could be a little bit of a difference in where you get those, right? Why are there differences? Sugars are sugars. At the molecular level, it's all really kind of the same, and that's actually very true, but there's a huge role to play in at least a couple of things. Especially for carbohydrate sources, which we'll get to in a bit. The micronutrients are a big role. We actually don't have a chapter on micronutrients in this book. They're described in the food composition chapter. Because if you eat really low nutrition sources of macronutrients, like drinking a Coca-Cola and just getting your carbs from Coke, please don't do that, right? At least not entirely. You get, carbs and caffeine, water, and that's about it. What about all the other micronutrients that you need? Well, vitamins, there are minerals, there are phytochemicals, special chemicals in plants that help health by a little bit, and fiber. All of those are available in actual foods, usually whole foods, and those have benefits to body composition and performance, and especially to health. So there are differences in where you get your food from. So let's get through this. Protein. Where should your protein come from? It should be from mostly lean sources, because if you eat a lot of fatty sources of protein, your saturated fats start to go through the roof, and it screws up your fats and probably your macros as well. Lean sources of animal protein have probably the highest biological value and availability and improve body composition performance the best. You have to have them. You can absolutely have vegan and vegetarian sources that are either complete, like soy or quinoa, or complementary proteins, like beans and rice. They have sort of, one has not enough amino acids of one kind, one has not enough of the other, but together they actually form a protein that is complete. It gives you all the amino acids that you need to optimally or pretty close function and have good health and good performance. So that's a protein recommendations. How can you screw them up? Well, if you eat mostly not complementary protein sources, you can eat a really good deal of protein and still undereat how much protein you're required to, and that is going to cost you body composition and performance. So a real big subheader for this chapter, point, is that if you're a vegan or vegetarian, that's really good. You just got to make sure you're real careful about eating enough complete and complementary proteins, and a little bit more of them because they're harder to digest, to make sure that you're getting all your needs met. What about carb composition? Most of your carbs should probably come from veggies, fruits, and whole grains. Why? Because they bring in tons of micronutrients. They bring in vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, and fiber. That's real good stuff. They also digest at a relatively normal speed, not too quick, and they give you energy throughout the day. And with the energy and the micronutrients combined, they're real good sources. Now, there's times where you're going to move away from them. During a workout, you may have a Gatorade or something like that, which is none of those things. But you don't just want to be pounding Gatorades all day long. You want to have mostly veggies, fruits, whole grains in most cases. For fats, you want to limit your saturated fat intake to maybe a third or less of your total fats, which isn't that hard because a lot of stuff has saturated fat in it. Basically, when you're adding fats, you probably don't want to add saturated fat. So if you're cooking, you have the choice to cook with, olive oil or regular butter. Olive oil is probably the healthier option. You want to get enough essential polyunsaturated fats, so omega-3s are a real good premium, fatty fish, and maybe some supplements, and so on and so forth. And if you're eating a lot of fats, especially to boost your calories or something like that, or if you just like fatty foods within the context of a calorie-constrained diet, then monounsaturated fats tend to be sort of gram for gram after you've met your essential fat needs from polys, real good for your health, which we'll talk about in a sec, that's important for the long term. And it's been shown that they're actually pretty decent for body composition as well and for performance in addition to that. So where does that leave us? If the majority of your added fats, after you get enough essential fats, are coming from olive oil, canola oil, nuts, nut butters, avocados, things like that. You're in a really, really good place. If the majority of your added fats are coming from butter and whole cream, processed meats, sausages, things like that, it might not be the best. Is it going to alter your composition, body composition? A lot? No. Performance? No. But, and here's where we get to the last point, it will alter your health quite a bit. So there's not a big performance effect and body composition effect from food composition, where your food comes from. The whole category is 5%, right? So we're thinking 5%, geez, who cares? Well, that's 5% over the course of several months. Like if you want to get lean and do really well in sport, and you really don't pay attention to composition a lot, but you nail your calories, macros, and timing, you're going to reach very close to your goals. However, your health is what allows you to continue to train and diet for performance and body composition over years. And if you don't support your health, eventually you don't get to diet for body composition or sport performance anymore, because your doctor is going to say, hey, look, you need to pay attention to your health. So we highly recommend that, though to be purely scientific and honest, it doesn't matter a ton in the short term what you eat, as long as you get macros, calories, so on and so forth. It does matter considerably in the long term for your health. Maybe 20% of your health is decided by these things, not 5%. It's probably a good idea to get most of your food from lean meats or lean vegan protein products that are high quality proteins, veggies, fruits, whole grains, mostly monounsaturated fats with some polys to get your essentials. If you do that, you're supporting your long-term health and your body composition and performance goals. Folks, next time we'll cover supplements and hydration in Chapter 6.